While recently conversing with a friend of mine from Australia, he thought I had been dealt a really bad hand with this thing called Inclusion Body Myositis. Now in stage 3 of this disease, I would have to agree with him, as well as countless others afflicted with this skeletal muscle disease. We've been dealt a really bad hand and can't trade in our cards for others and can't fold or even bluff our way within the later stages. Hi, Jerry here again for people interested in ways to battle difficulties experienced with a skeletal muscle disease called Inclusion Body Myositis, or IBM. I'll have 2 bonus tips near the end of this video for stage 1 IBMers beginning to experience uneasiness when going down any stairs, and another for stage 3 IBMers and their opportunities with their lift chair recliners. It's inevitable that everyone has to negotiate a lot of places with steps or stairs. As you know, a ramp is a convenient way for mobility impaired persons to overcome those elevation changes. As your inclusion body myositis progresses, these ramps will become very important to you. In this episode, I'm going to discuss various types of ramps available for your home or apartment, and a few portable ramps you can take with you and utilize when venturing away from home. I'd like to thank Handi-ramp for providing many of the photos in this episode. Handi-ramp is a manufacturer and supplier of many of the products I will cover. I will leave Handi-ramp's website link in the info section of this video. Check them out. Thank you, Handi-ramp, for granting permission to use some of your website's photography. First, how about that car, van, or pickup truck sitting in your driveway? If your IBM requires you to use a power chair or scooter for long trips at the supermarket, and you can still drive your car, truck, or van, and would like to load your power chair or scooter alone, all by yourself, while in your stage 1 or early stage 2 condition. Yes, some people use small incline ramps to place small portable scooters into their car's trunk. Measure the height from the ground to floor level of the rear of your car, truck, or van. Use that measurement to determine how long your ramp should be to allow you to get your mobility ride up into your vehicle. It should be noted that it may be easier to load when backing the scooter or power chair into the transport vehicle, as the controls can be reached by the person loading or unloading it without having to crawl inside. There should be room reserved to place the ramp next to the mobility vehicle for transport. Too short of a ramp could cause several problems. First, too steep of a ramp might make it difficult to get your scooter or power chair up the ramp, especially if the batteries are getting low on charge. A second problem with too short a ramp when loading into the back of a van or pickup truck is getting hung up on the bottom of the scooter's frame. An arched ramp will help eliminate getting hung up during the loading process. And most seriously, the reason not to have too short of a ramp, your power chair might push the ramps away from the vehicle and the power chair could tip over while loading it. Ramps installed by ramp van manufacturers will already meet the minimum standards for length and slope, but watch out for an unsafe condition when the outstretched ramp may be landing on a downhill or lower surface than the van, and the ramp's angle might be a little steeper than you're accustomed to, and a rollover is possible. Wearing your seatbelt will always help you stay in the operator's seat. Make sure you have the appropriate tie-downs and use them to avoid having the scooter or power chair flying around inside the van or truck if you are involved in a collision. Secure the portable ramp too. The last thing you want to happen in a case of an accident would be to get hit in the head by a portable ramp that you don't have properly secured. There are ramp carriers for installation into Type 3 receiver hitches at the rear of your car, van, or truck. Although easy to use, even when folded up, they do require additional length in your garage, and when in use can drag on the ground when driving over an entrance transition between a street and driveway or parking lot. I owned one of these carriers for about 2 years and realized its disadvantages. Next, let's look at your residence. Let's start with the basic getting over the entrance door threshold. Easy peasy, one might say. Power chair operators can attest that even going over a slightly raised entryway threshold needs to be done at an exact 90-degree angle to avoid an uneven jostle that might result in your chair going off its intended course and accidentally damaging the door or door frame. This accidental contact can be caused when the front wheels or casters unevenly react to the rise of the door's entryway threshold, and your weak hand on the joystick controller inadvertently gets moved and changes the direction of your power chair. You have a couple of choices to fix the threshold bump. Either buy a new door assembly with a special flat ADA threshold costing about $1,000, or purchase and install a threshold ramp on your existing doorway for less than $100, often for $30 to $40 if you have a spouse, friend, or relative install it for you. This simple cure will lessen the abruptness when going over the threshold. Threshold ramps can work at any door that has a small elevation difference, even at patio doors that lead out to your home's outdoor deck or patio. Whether the ramp is made of aluminum, rubber, plastic, or wood, a smoother transition is easier for the power chair pilot, and the home's doorways. Threshold ramps are easy to measure, order, and install. Simply measure your door's opening width and the height of the threshold above the door or deck surface and order a transition ramp that comes closest to your measurement. The threshold ramp at your door might have to be accompanied by a longer ramp to climb any additional rise or step on the outside of your home. There are specific guidelines that should be followed, mainly for safety reasons, your safety to be precise. There are different mobility standards for ramps intended for use in occupied and unoccupied situations. A word of caution: where short runs are easily figured out by simply using a tape measure, longer, taller, more complicated ramps with rest platforms and railings may require the services of a professional ramp consultant who will measure and design a custom ramp for you. So for now, let's concentrate on what we are easily capable of measuring. Let's discuss some of the many thresholds that might require a ramp. Front and rear wood and concrete slab porches and patios can often be made power chair accessible with the correct ramp. A special curb ramp might be all you need to open up your mobility world. Not only will you have access to other parts of your yard, but more importantly, will give you a secondary escape route in case of a home fire. A 112 slope ramp is for an occupied vehicle ramp, such as for a person driving a mobility scooter or a power chair into a residence. An unoccupied application guideline calls for a minimum of a 1 to 6 slope. An example of an unoccupied application would be a ramp used to load an empty scooter or power chair into the back of a minivan or pickup truck. So what's this slope I've mentioned twice? In an unoccupied application and a 1 to 6 ratio recommendation, there should be 6 inches of ramp for every 1 inch of rise. In a 1:12 ratio for occupied applications, there should be 12 horizontal inches of ramp length for each 1 inch of vertical rise. By the way, if your elevation rise for a ramp is 30 or more inches high, a rest platform halfway up is recommended. This is a good idea for a person hand propelling or pushing a non-motorized wheelchair, or for somebody using a walker or rollator on the ramp. So, whether you need a ramp for your home, your transportation, or just need a ramp to allow you to visit your children and grandchildren more frequently, there's a portable ramp available for you to purchase. There's also a myriad of customized ramps available to suit almost any situation outside or even inside your home. Now here's the first of two special IBM bonus tips for this episode. If and when you reach the third stage of inclusion body myositis, your mid-body skeletal muscles have probably also weakened, making it difficult for you to sit up from a lean back position in your lift chair recliner. To sit up, some stage 3 IBMers use the tilt forward function on their lift chair to sit up, but at the chance of sliding out of the recliner if going too far. I installed a slightly modified wedge pillow on the backrest that results in being able to sit up needing less chair tilt. Going another step further, my crafty wife and caregiver used her hot glue gun to attach two pieces cut from a swimming pool noodle on a foam piece underneath the cover to keep my shoulders and head contained on the backrest during those times when a nap seems like a good idea. Without them, my head had a tendency to roll off to the side while napping. To hold the wedge in place, two Velcro straps were installed and secured to a wooden support on the back of the recliner with a couple of staples. This wedge works well for me, is comfortable in all recliner positions, and was relatively inexpensive to accomplish. That's my first bonus tip for this episode. My second tip is for stage 1 IBMers who are starting to feel uneasy about going downstairs. Because the downward direction allows a chance for your weakening knees to buckle forward when you need the most support, try this simple trick. When going down the stairs, go down backwards while hanging onto the handrail. Going down backwards makes it easier to lock up your leg going to the next step, and should your supporting knee buckle, you will most likely not fall down the open staircase. I hope you enjoyed this video as I share some insight on how to cope with IBM, especially in the later stages. Please click the thumbs up and the subscribe button. When subscribing, click on the bell to automatically be notified whenever a new video is released. Stay strong, my friends. See you later.